Mahipal sir. We are highly obliged. And if I put some light on his research and academic background, he is having a rich experience in vitro plant biology and production of secondary metabolites. He had joined his government services in Pondicherry in 2003, and he is having more than 20 years of experience in the field of plant biotechnology. He was selected as a postdoctoral research associate under the Department of Biotechnology, and which is funded by Biotechnology Unit at Jain Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur, Rajasthan. He has also worked as a senior scientific officer, grade 2, at Center for Research and Application in Plant Tissue Culture, Hisar, Haryana. And he has served his duties there for 2 years. Now I'm coming to his research contribution, and that is very rich. If I'm putting some light on that research exposure and his research contribution, he is having 3 funded research projects from external agencies, and he has already completed those. These are University Grant Commission, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Pondicherry, and DBT, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. And he is having other than 3 projects which is funded by Government of India under SERB DST, and as well as on National Medicinal Plants Garden, Ministry of Ayush. And if I'm going to count his funded research grants, so it is for each and every projects, that is in lakhs. One project with 22.78, another is around 13 lakh, one more funded project on foliar micromorphological studies with 8 lakhs, and one more funded project in vitro propagation of Hemidesmus indicus with around 40 lakh, and one more with the herbal garden for 20 medicinal plants with 5 lakhs. So this is the research contribution of Dr. Shekhawat, and we are also getting his expertise today for this webinar. He has already published more than 40 research articles in SCI index journals, and his area of research is industrial, and journals he has selected to publish the articles are Industrial Crops and Products, Microscopy Research and Techniques, Brazilian Journal of Botany, and so on, and in which that Plant Cell Tissue and Organ Culture, and Israel Journal of Plant Sciences. At the same time, he has also contributed 5 books. If I count his other contribution in research, so he has selected as an international visiting scholar by Nigerian University, and he has filed 2 Indian patents. So that is because if I'm going to read his contribution in research, so that will also take a long time. But I take this privilege, and I also convey my thanks to Dr. Vijay, because he has arranged this webinar, and along with this Dr. Srishti. So they worked as a team, and they arranged these things. So now I give this opportunity to Dr. Shekhawat, and if he can proceed and he can deliver a talk on that today's topic. Dr. Shekhawat, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gautam sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
It's really a proud moment for me that a person like you are introducing me, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, one and all. Warm greetings from the beautiful coastal city of Pondicherry. First of all, I would like to thank the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, Head School of Bioengineering and Biosciences, Head Department of Molecular Biology and Genetic Engineering, Dr. Gautam sir, is the convener of today's webinar also. Coordinator and my friend, Dr. Vijay Kumar, faculty of the same department and other departments of the institute, research scholars, the students of the lovely professional university, Fagwada, Punjab, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my research experience in the advancement of plant cell and tissue culture. I would like to thank the director of my institute, Kanchi Mamunivar Government Institute for Postgraduate Studies and Research, Pondicherry, who permitted me to go with the webinar and share my research with people like you. I welcome all the participants from different parts of India. Just we are going to enjoy tissue culture only today, just for 1 hour. Only tissue culture, nothing more than that. Just forget other things, please, for 1 hour only, and enjoy the webinar. Thank you. With this, we'll start our discussion today. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, it is visible, Dr. Shekhawat.
Oh.
It is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Presentation is visible?
Just to give it slide flow.
Given, sir. Now is it okay? Is it okay, sir?
It's coming up.
Vijay, sir, please confirm. Is it visible and audible?
Sir, it's
Yes, sir.
audible, it's visible, but I think if we'll do in a full screen, then it would be great.
Yeah, in mine it is full screen only.
Okay.
Okay, wait, one more thing. One more time, let me try.
Sir. Sir, please press F5.
Press, sir. That is on my screen. It is full only.
Okay, no problem, sir. No problem. It's okay.
Wait, one more time. Let me try. Is it okay, sir? Vijay, sir, is it okay now?
Yes, sir, it's visible. For others, I don't know. For others, it's visible in a full screen
It's
mode.
visible. It's
Visible.
visible.
Yeah, it's
Fine, fine.
visible.
Visible.
Right. Let me start. So, friends, we are the people who used to play with the plant cells, plant tissues and plant organs as per our wish, as per our experimental requirement. And that is the real enjoyment of plant cell and tissue culture. That is why it is called as, this is an art and science of multiplying of plants under controlled conditions. And we are enjoying this because of two types of concepts or the capabilities of the plant science or the plant cells. That is totipotency. Because of that, we are able to regenerate plants from the single cell even and producing number of plants. And another thing, that is the plasticity of the plant cells and tissues, that based on our requirement, whenever we want, we can induce roots. Based on our requirement, we can induce shoots, we can make somatic embryos, we can induce even flowers also. That plasticity is given by plant cells only to us. And that is the real enjoyment while handling the plant cells. This is the basic question is having from the beginning of the plant cell and tissue culture experiments or in this field. Why we used to do tissue culture of the plants? And the answers are, if you want large number of plant population at industrial level, we need to go for plant tissue culture. If you want disease-free plants, we have to go for tissue culture. If you want some plants which cannot be propagated easily by their natural means, we have to go for plant tissue culture. Even not only that, in case of banana and bamboo, just to fulfill the demand of the farmers, we have to go for plant tissue culture. And this is the way we can do plant cell and tissue culture. I want to introduce you to a new plant in the field of plant tissue culture. There, the plant is Scaevola takada. It's a coastal plant. Nobody used this plant for plant cell and tissue culture.
Sir, sorry to trouble you, sir.
Please.
Slides are not moving actually. It's not in a.
Slides are not moving.
No. In first slide only.
Still.
Yes, sir. Please go for that slideshow.
Yes, sir. It's only the first slide.
Still it is first slide only, sir.
Sir, it
Yes,
is
sir.
not in a slideshow, sir.
Now it's a fifth slide.
Right. Wait, one more time. Let me try from beginning itself. So from present now to, I have to come a window, right? Now, sir.
It's opening, sir. Yeah. So, but it's the fifth slide. We have to start. Yeah. Now we are in the
Zero.
fourth number, sixth number. Yeah. Now it's
Yeah.
moving.
Moving.
Now it's,
So I am
yeah,
now I am going to put it on slideshow.
yeah, okay, sir.
Now, what is the position?
It's a normal view only, sir.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's
normal view only. We can see the sixth slide, but it is not on a full screen mode.
Okay. But here in my system, it is showing in the full screen mode, sir.
So no issues, but the slide should move. Even if it is not
Okay.
in a full screen mode, the slide should move.
Now it is moving.
Yeah. Now it's
Yeah,
moving.
it is
Yes,
moving now.
it's moving.
Now, right?
Yes, sir. Now it's moving.
Okay, right. So this is the plant that is known as Scaevola taccata. It is a coastal plant, and just around 2 years back, one gentleman from France brought 2 plants to me and asked for the development. He needed around 10,000 plants of this. So he wanted one protocol for this plant. Right. Because they wanted to start one resort in coastal area of Pondicherry. So this plant, he told that it is working as bio wall, and it stop soil erosion of the coastal area. By use of tissue culture technology, we have developed a wonderful protocol for that. So with the slides, we'll move forward and we'll discuss about about this plant. So with the basics of plant tissue culture, we'll start. After that, we'll move towards the advancements. There are various factors responsible for or involved in the process of plant tissue culture, like the chemical factors, which include various type of media, organic and inorganic components are there, plant growth regulators, and advancements are there in that also. We are modifying nutrient media based on our requirement, based on plant's requirement. Even gelling agents also, from agar-agar we move to the plant gel, and that is the cheapest source of gelling agent now in these days we are using. These are the different stages of plant cell and tissue culture, as we all of aware of that, from initiation to proliferation to rooting of the shoots, that to rooting, both the types of rooting we used to enjoy, in vitro and ex vitro, and hardening, and finally we are transferring plants to the farmer's field. Yeah, here people used to, especially the people who are working in the tissue culture industry, they have their own advancements in these factors. These are physical factors. In general, for research purpose, we used to use 24 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade or 25 plus minus 2 degrees centigrade. But industry people, they are using now 30 degrees centigrade for fast cell growth and for fast production of the plants. Even photoperiod also they have reduced from 12 minimum 12 hour. Even I have seen in one industry for bamboo and banana cultures, they are giving hardly 3 to 4 hours only. And that too in lightning also, fully LED lights, just to make the technology cheaper. So there are various techniques we are using for plant cell and tissue culture, or especially for micropropagation. This is one example where a medicinal plant we propagated by use of plant cell and tissue culture, that is Passiflora edulis. Shoots were multiplied, rooted, hardened, and successfully transferred to the field. Screen is visible, sir?
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, sir. Right. Here some technical issues are there. I don't have even power supply also today in Pondicherry. Right, please bear with me. Right. So this is another plant where a medicinal plant, dye yielding plant, where we have developed a successful micropropagation protocol. We have developed in vitro roots, ex vitro roots also, adventitious root also, and we have gone for adventitious root culture for more production of dye. These are anthraquinones actually, Morinda citrifolia. Right, demand was there because now in these days, Morinda plant, even leaf and stem extracts also with the fruit extract, people are using for hair dye purpose. So in South India, wherever the plants were available, people harvested these. Even the leaf extract is very good dye, source of hair dye. And now in these days, the consumption of hair dye is increasing day by day. So the demand of this plant was there. Still it is in demand. So we developed a wonderful protocol by modification of the medium, nutrients, physical factors, and now we are able to synthesize the dye under in vitro conditions. We'll discuss in next few more slides are there in another section of this discussion. The plants were acclimatized and field transferred successfully, and we are giving to the farmers. Since Morinda citifolia availability was less, but another species of Morinda is available in South India, even in North India also, that is Morinda corea. We have developed protocol for that also. And now we are synthesizing dye in the flasks by use of adventitious root cultures. And we are working on the development of hair dye by use of dye synthesized by adventitious roots under in vitro conditions. And this work we published in 2015 in South African Journal of Botany. Another plant, that is Bacilla alba, industrial plant. Anthocyanins are present in the plant. So we have developed a wonderful protocol for that with good shoot regeneration. And now we are trying to synthesize anthocyanins in liquid medium also. This is our Parijat plant. So the plants are used if somebody is having bone problems, somebody is having joint problems, especially for backbone or the backache problem is there. For that purpose, people are using this plant. So tissue culture protocol has been developed for this plant. And the plants were successfully hardened in greenhouse and transferred to the farmer's field also in Pondicherry, because it's an ornamental plant also. People are using flowers in daily life. So demand was there. People contacted us. We have developed the protocol and gave to them. Not only in land plants, we were able to develop plant tissue culture system for aquatic plants also. Alternanthera, in vitro, ex vitro, both types of rooting we did successfully. Plants were hardened and field transferred and published in Aquaculture International in 2016. So these are the various methods of micropropagation. Whatever we have discussed till now, these are from the direct regeneration from the auxiliary buds, shoot segments. Bud breaking was there from the auxiliary meristem itself. The another method is by use of or by induction of callus culture. So callus was induced in Micrococa mercurialis, and shoots were regenerated, rooted, hardened, and field transferred. This is one dye-yielding plant of Rubiaceae family, Ordinal India corymbosa. Wonderful shoot multiplication was there, but the only problem we faced here was vitrification of the shoots. That was overcome by use of activated charcoal first, and after that by reduced concentration of nitrates. We have reduced ammonium nitrate and potassium nitrate just half. After that, the results were wonderful. The shoots were multiplied. Even in one culture bottle, more than 250 shoots were there. Each and every shoot was rooted, hardened in greenhouse, and field transferred successfully. Now we are working on the production of multiplication, proliferation of adventitious root of this plant, and production of dye. This is Hediotis biflora. Again, one dye yielding plant, and dye basically we are getting from the roots only. So just to get the roots, just to get the dye, entire plant used to uprooted. And thereby the natural population of these plants are decreasing day by day. So finally, we have the solution as tissue culturist that we can multiply the roots only. Sometimes we have to go for hairy root culture, or we have to go for adventitious root culture. We can multiply 24/7. No need to depend on season. After that, by use of various kinds of elicitors, biotic and abiotic, we used to induce more production of dyes or secondary metabolites. And these can be, the technology can be transferred to the pilot scale and then to the industry. The recent advancement in the field of tissue culture is the use of different kinds of plant growth regulators. Just 2 months before, I saw an article from the research group of Professor Narpat Singh Shekhawat of Jodhpur, my Guruji. They have published one wonderful article on the use of metatopolin at the place of, as we are using for soot induction, soot multiplication, we are using benzyl aminopurine, BAP, or kinetin, or zeatin. They use metatopolin. And the number of soots are amazing. In case of Metanus emerginata, that is a woody tree species, very difficult to propagate. The first article published by them only in 1992. And then in 2020, after this much of gap of this much of hard work, finally by use of metatopolin at the place of BAP, they succeeded like anything. So this is the recent advancement, but I felt I should share with the tissue culture fraternity, right? We also started using that metatopolin in case of Scaevola taccata, and with that we used liquid medium and got wonderful results. Because by use of liquid medium, we can reduce the cost of production. Same time, the nutrient uptake is too good. So at the place of waiting for 4 to 5 weeks for multiplication or proliferation of shoots, within 2 to 3 weeks, shoots used to proliferate, and the entire culture bottle will be full of cultures, shoots only. So by the combination of use of metatopolin and liquid medium, we have enhanced the regeneration potential of Scaevola taccata. And this has been published recently in 2020 in vitro cellular and developmental biology. Tissue culture is also important in the conservation of rare, endangered, and threatened species. Here I would like to mention Dr. Lekhak. He is available here in this group now for helping us in providing rare and critically endangered type of species from the Western Ghats. So in this category of uses of plant tissue culture or advancements in plant cell and tissue culture technology, I want to share some of my research experience with you all. That is Hemidesmus indicus. In South India, it is known as Nannari. Basically, I think it is in abundantly it was available, this plant in South India, and in every house, every day uses are there. We used to call it here in South India as Nannari plant. Roots are only useful. So people harvested this plant's root like anything from the all types of even conserved forest area also. So now the availability of this plant is rare, and the roots which are available in market in the name of Nannari is not at all Nannari. Not only adulterated, fully replaced by other nearby plants. So with this plant, we approached National Medicinal Plant Board, and that this plant is in the priority list of NMPB, Ministry of Ayush. Right? That yeah, we want to work on that. Though a lot of work is already there. Our target, how to make a protocol that can be commercialized, and we were successful in that. And now we are working on, since roots are only useful, so conservation aspect is one aspect. Next aspect is, if you can develop a protocol for large scale production of roots only, we can save the plant, because that large scale production of roots, adventitious roots, and then if we can enhance the production of coumarins, that is the chemical compound, bioactive compound, which is having aroma. For that, these plant roots are consumed every day in every house. So if we can multiply roots only, so the dependency of this plant from the forest area can be improved, and we can save the natural population of this plant. So now we are working on another aspect, how we can multiply these adventitious roots at large scale and how we can induce coumarins in the roots by use of elicitors, so that the roots can be harvested, washed properly, dried, and directly can be sent to the market. We are working on that aspect with help of National Medicinal Plant Board. These are the plantlets formed, hardened in greenhouse. Near about 2,000 plants are available in the field, and we are doing field studies now. These are actually Nannari roots, Hemidecinus indicus roots, which are available in market first. Then these are the roots which, after 2 months, we saw in our plant.
Shekhawat, sorry to disturb you. What is the current status of this plant species in the red data list?
That is not at all now in red data list, but actually we have to put it, right? Because it is now the availability in South India is almost rare.
Okay.
Right. In certain parts, it's not at all available. In certain parts, wherever some conservation status is there, for example, conserved forest areas are there, right? There, these plants are naturally growing. But whenever people are approaching these plants, they used to immediately uproot.
Okay.
Because people know about this plant very well. That, oh, Nannari, right? They used to uproot and take it with them. So with that uprooting, entire plant we used to lose.
Okay. No, definitely.
Right. Right. So just to save the plant, right? So we worked on in vitro propagation just for large scale production. And the beauty is, right, in one culture bottle, we got more than 50 to 60 shoots, even sometimes more than that also. Each and every shoot we have rooted ex vitro also. Better growth was there under ex vitro conditions, right? And plants were hardened in the.
So we can go for the transgenic route also, if the root part is very important.
Yes, sir. Transgenic hairy root culture. You are asking about hairy root culture.
And I think there is no report available on this plant on Agrobacterium, as far as I know.
Exactly, sir. We are working on this aspect.
Okay.
You are right, sir. We are working on this aspect also. So targets are two now, right? One is conservation aspect. Another is how we can multiply the roots only, either by use of Agrobacterium infection or adventitious root cultures directly. Right, in both the cases, even adventitious root culture we already started. We are in good position, right, sir? We'll discuss in detail and in next few more slides.
Sure.
Next plant that is also known as Nagalingam tree. It as per IUCN, it is coming under that RET category. It is a state flower of Pondicherry. Because of that name, Nagalingam is because of the beautiful flower where the one Naga snake hood is protecting the gynoecium. And that is also known as the plant, English name is cannonball tree. A cannon size, big size fruit is there. So since it is coming under RET category of IUCN, and since it is a state flower of Pondicherry, a big tree, it was our moral duty to work on that. No in vitro work was available, so we started working on that. Especially Dr. Manokari did on this only, and we developed a wonderful protocol for this endangered type of tree species. So we conserved finally this plant, and now we have many plants with us. Even in our campus also we have planted tissue culture raised plants. We are maintaining there. Yes, sir. The next plant that is known as river lily. It is Crinum malabaricum. And I am happy to share this news that this plant was discovered by again by Professor Lekhak and Professor Yadav sir of Shivaji University, Kolhapur. And I think they have discovered this plant. They have discovered in the year of I think 2013 only.
Exactly, so it's a very big thing. Like today with us, Dr. Lekhak is there, and he is the person who discovered this plant.
Yes, discovered this plant. Yeah,
discovered this plant. So thank you very much, Lekhak sir.
Lekhak sir. Yes, sir.
For your valuable contribution.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank
sir.
you.
We must thank you.
And
So,
one more thing, sir, I would like to add regarding this for Manoj Lekhak. recently sir got a project on this Crinum malabaricum, and sir has almost completed the work. I think so. What, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are.
And yeah, and last year in my lab also we have received the same project on the same plant, but some little bit different aspect. And
different
Manoj
aspect,
Lekha
yes, sir.
sir is again helping us, and Dr. Shekhawat is also helping our lab for this work. So thank you to both of them.
Always, sir. Always, sir. It's our
Okay,
pleasure, sir.
my pleasure.
So, Lekhak sir published this article in Q Bulletin. Am I right, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I read that article in 2015 when I was in Kerala. That time I was working in another small pocket of UT of Pondicherry that is known as Mahi. So, and as per Lekhak sir, it is now the available population of this plant is hardly 1,000 plants in entire world. World means this is endemic to the India only, that too in Western Ghats. And this plant, only 1,000 plants are available. Around 1,000 plants are only available. It is located nearby Kasaragod district of Kerala. One Peria village is there in a running stream. Plant is actually growing in the dried bed of one small stream or river. But wherever water is available, monsoon season is there, plant used to grow, otherwise remain in dormant position in the form of bulbs. So by reading sir's paper, we worked on this plant, right? That when 1,000 plants are only there, right? Soon these may also disappear. So it was our bound duty to work on this plant as tissue culturist. So with some work, we approached Science and Engineering Research Board (DST). That yes, such type of things are there, and this type of plants are there, and we were able to succeed at certain extent. Right, preliminary work we have already did that time. So SERB, they funded this project, and now we are in a position. We are in a position to produce more than 1 lakh plant within 6 month time period. That much technology has been developed in these 3-4 years, right? So these are the plants which are naturally growing. We got some seeds also, but seed germination rate was, in our case, it was almost 0. So we just brought some, because the natural population is very less. So very few bulbs we brought from the site and established the cultures. That too, if we are putting entire bulb in the medium, it is getting contamination. Because inside the bulb, larvae used to be there, eggs will be there, insects used to be there. That from the outside we can't see. It's difficult to observe. So what we did finally, after doing experimentation, the meristematic tissue, even in Liliaceae members or Emeraldaceae members or in other monocots also, right, where bulb is there, it's difficult to get the meristematic tissue because stem is too short, very small. So we planned in such a way that the meristematic tissue which is present, or the meristematic stem which is present in between the two scales, can be activated, induced by use of certain types of hormones, plant growth regulators. And then we succeeded. We got the results. So just a small part of the explant where only 2 scales are there. In between 2 scales, meristematic region used to be there. That we have induced and we got the shoots in this plant. And now this is the situation. And the results we published in PCTOC last year only, in 2020. Another beauty is here, formation of in vitro bulbs. What we realize, if bulb formation is there under in vitro conditions, then directly these bulbs can be transferred to the field. Once bulb formation is there, no need of hardening also, because bulbs store food material and they can tolerate harsh conditions. They can remain as such in soil without any type of problem in dormant position. Whenever next year monsoon season is there, the in vitro regenerated bulbs directly start sprouting and making a complete plant. So one artificial stream we made in our institute when I was in Mahi, Kerala, and we have grown there these plants. So technology has been developed. In vitro bulb formation is there. Even in the next sections, we'll discuss in detail about the other sections, other type of research we did on this.
Dr. Shekhawat, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
And this is Bhattacharya, Paramik Bhattacharya from IHBT. Now,
Yes, sir,
you are
welcome.
talking about this bulb formation, I can hear. So, here in IHBT, we do work on this saffron. So,
Yes.
you and Dr. Amita Bhattacharya is one of the pioneers in that field. She's also there. I just want
sir.
to ask one small thing. Can we apply this concept, what you have talked about, in
sir.
saffron?
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
secondly, and you had just mentioned about metatopoline. Actually, we are from the group of Johannes Van Staden and World Group,
Yes. Sir.
which
Yes, sir,
is the group which actually introduced that hormone to the world, basically. So,
I know, sir. I know.
regarding this, another question, maybe you will be coming to that part later on. I recently read a paper, very interesting paper of your seismic stress
Sir, I'm
on
coming.
the growth of this. This
Yes,
thing
sir,
I
I'm
really
coming.
want to have a little bit idea, because that paper was very nice, and I want to apply the concept to our groups, because I work on the similar domains like you know me better than others, I think. Okay.
I'm
So
coming.
this
I'm coming to that aspect also, sir. In next few slides. Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
just
sir.
this, if you can you can please tell me regarding this, how, if we can apply this concept of increasing the bulb size, because I work on Melaxis, where the bulb holds the compounds, active principles, and the
Yeah.
corm size, because we did in South Africa on Dremia and other plants, on the
Yes,
cormlet size increase. And
Yes, sir.
you know, in saffron, corm size holds the key to that flowering on all these things.
Exactly, sir.
If you can enlighten a bit on this. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for your especially query and clarification also, sir. Thank you.
Yes. It's very
Recently,
nice.
yeah. Recently, I got an opportunity to review one article, right, for PCTOC on saffron, sir,
Okay.
and bulb formation in saffron, right. I think soon it will be available
Okay.
online.
PCTOC.
Yeah, PCTOC. Soon it will be available online.
What about South African Journal of Botany? How is it progressing?
Yeah, good, sir.
Do you feel it will reach to next year?
Sure, sir, sure.
Thank you.
You are asking about a reach next year in what way, sir?
No,
Eh?
that's why we are part of that South African, our own journal. That's why.
Sir.
Thank you. Nice talking to you. Okay, I will ask you a few questions. Okay.
Sure. Always welcome, sir. Always welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. Which is the group who's been saffron?
Ma'am, I'm unable to hear you properly. I think some interruption is there. Yes, ma'am.
No problem. I'll ask it, sir.
Ma'am, you can write in a chat box also. If your voice is lagging, you can write in a chat box also.
I think Amita, ma'am, right?
Yeah. She's Amita, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, you can write.
Ma'am, right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. I want to add here something what Bhattacharya sir told just now. That how we can induce these bulbs here, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, to our surprise, we never thought of induction of bulbs when we got bulbs, because we were working on simply this aspect only, how we can multiply the shoots, right? But unfortunately, I was out of station for around 1 month. Right, things used to happen in this way. See, right, when I came back to the institute and I checked my cultures, right, where nutritional deficiency was there, medium was almost over, and I got bulb formation in that. Right, then I realized, oh, in vitro bulb formation can also be possible by inducing certain type of stress. It means nutritional stresses it may be, right, it may be hormonal stress, right, and even we have applied the same technique for induction of bulbs by use of seismic stress also, right. Later on, after the few slides, we will discuss about this concept also. Right? Bhattacharya sir?
Dr. Maipal, Dr. Jay Sawan is here.
Sir, welcome, sir. Good morning,
Okay.
sir.
Just in connection with the Paromix question, as this plant offers in the running water, what strategies can apply for a reintroduction of this plant again into the natural sources?
So, will you repeat your question, sir, please?
Okay, as this plant is found in the running water, okay?
Running water.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if we wish to reintroduce this plant again into the natural habitat, so what strategy we can follow for this?
Yes, sir. For that same kind of one running stream we made in our institute, right?
Okay.
Because that too in the rocky areas. So we brought the rocks from the same site, stones from the same site, right? Even some soil also from the same site, and we made one artificial stream in our institute, right? With running water, we made it. But the growth as compared to the natural stream, no. What we observed there, that much growth was till now we were unable to achieve that. So what we did, we regenerated the plants, hardened the plants, and around 200 plants we planted there itself, in the natural stream itself, right? And now we are doing the study of that also, how the growth parameters are differing from the natural propagation and from tissue culture as plants.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That is going on, sir. Thank you, sir. So basically, this plant we started with the one aspect, that conservation aspect only. But finally, we entered in another aspect, that is the plant is the source of galanthamine, and galanthamine is the anti-Alzheimer's disease drug. This is the only known drug for the Alzheimer's disease. Right. So we started with the conservation aspect. Now we are entering into the secondary metabolite production aspect. And luckily, whatever the crinum species are available in India, maximum production is maximum production as per Jagtap et al. Maximum production is by Crinum malabaricum only. So to propagate the plants, to make plants, for large scale production of plants, another aspect of plant tissue culture is by use of somatic embryogenesis or through somatic embryogenesis. Right? So we can induce embryos from the somatic tissues if direct regeneration is not there, number one. Because generally, in general, for cloning purpose, for large scale production of plantlets, even for industrial tissue culture companies, tissue culture industries, they used to prefer direct regeneration from the axillary bud or from the meristematic tissues, direct shoot formation. They prefer that. If that is not achievable, then the next option is somatic embryogenesis. The only problem with somatic embryogenesis is because we have to induce callus in general. And to induce the callus, we need auxins, little bit higher concentration, especially if it is 2,4-D. Then the chances of soma-clonal variations are there, right? But if we are unable to develop a protocol for industry level, large scale production of plantlets, then we can go for another alternative, that is somatic embryogenesis. And this we induced in Hebenthus and published in 2016 itself. Yeah, Hebenthus only. Yes. We were able to induce direct somatic embryos from the leaf surface, leaf epidermal cells in case of Scaevola taccata. And that results were published in South African Journal of Botany in 2020 only, last year in Corona time period only. And I feel that Corona time period was the boom, right? I don't know how much I am true, but for most of the people who were waiting for the time to publish their work, they got sufficient time to sit, to write, and to publish. We used this time period as an opportunity and published around 28 articles. Out of that, I think 5 are there in the South African Journal of Botany only. So I must thank the group belongs to South African Journal of Botany and Van Staden sirs. Thank you very much. So we induced direct somatic embryos from the leaf surface. Even 1 inch of leaf area produce more than 100 somatic embryos directly visible from the microscope. We did anatomy of that. Under the microscope, we have proved that somatic embryogenesis is there very well. We have germinated, hardened, and field transfer for one of my French friend in the coastal area of Pondicherry. This is we know that in orchids, huge demand is there, but orchid seeds are very small, and because of absence of endosperm in that, right? Because source of nutrients are not there. So just to get germination of orchid seeds under natural conditions, seeds need a fungal association, symbiotic association of a fungi is needed. Then only after association of fungus, then only the seeds can germinate. So in natural conditions, seed germination percentage of orchids is hardly 10% or less than 10 also in some species. Here, tissue culture is working like anything because we are providing nutrients, and that technically we used to call it as asymbiotic seed germination. And we know that in a single fruit of one orchid, more than 1 lakh seeds can be possible. And by use of our technology, tissue culture technology, each and every seed we can germinate. So within one culture bottle, we can have more than 500 to 1000 seedlings. That is one part. Another part is orchid seeds used to be converted into protocombs or protocomb-like bodies. These can be converted into somatic embryos, and second somatic embryos can be converted into even secondary somatic embryogenesis is also there. We did in Vanda tessellata, a beautiful floriculture plant and a highly medicinal plant. So somatic embryogenesis and anatomical developments of somatic embryos, and this was again published in PCTOC last year only. This is another orchid, that is Spathoglottis plicata. Beautiful pink, red, different colors of flowers are there. We induced somatic embryos from the leaf surface itself, from the leaf itself. Successfully done. Plants were hardened, anatomically proved that yes, somatic embryogenesis is there, and published in PCTOC only last year. Our next aspect, which is more fascinating in the field of plant tissue culture. I can't say this is advancement, but whatever the things, new things we applied to this field, that I am going to discuss here. This is Vanda tessellata orchids, seed germination. Germinating seeds, even not only germinating seeds, protocombs, even somatic embryos also encapsulated by use of alginic acid and calcium chloride. Stored for 1 year at 4 degrees centigrade in the fridge only, and regenerated plants after 1 year, successfully regenerated. I can't say it is cryopreservation, it's just short-term cold storage only. But further, the technology can be enhanced, and these artificial seeds, synthetic seeds can be stored for longer time duration in liquid nitrogen also. So we have hardened the plants and shifted to the field. Synthetic seeds, short-term cold storage in Spathoglottis plicata also, because in both the plants we got somatic embryos. So we have developed synthetic seeds, stored for 1 year at 4 degrees and regenerated the plant successfully. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
As you are talking about orchids, I have in particular interest, Dr. Shekhawat. First
Yes,
thing
sir.
I would like to know, you said that how you you said from leaves you have generated these PLBs.
Yes,
Not,
sir.
I think it's not protocom. It's protocom
No,
like
no, no.
bodies.
These are not PLBs, sir. PLBs we are getting if we are getting from the seedlings.
Okay. You are how
Right.
you are getting this? Then
These are we took in vitro regenerated leaf from the shoot from the culture. That we
Okay.
put on the medium and with the plant growth regulators,
Okay.
right? Direct regeneration of somatic embryos, sir.
Okay. So this you have got. Now you are cryopreserving this in short-term
No, no, no,
storage.
no, sir. Short-term storage only. Cryopreservation facilities, unfortunately, we don't have in our.
Like what we did in Anseli Africana, the same thing you did. Okay.
Exactly, sir. Exactly,
Okay.
sir. Right.
So it's a nice thing basically. And what is the like survivability of these plants that you are getting after
In the field, sir,
in when you are converting it?
converting in the field or survivability or seed germination, you are telling, sir?
Yeah, artificial seed germination, and then are you at what is the growth complement you are adding? Does this plant has or any other?
Shekhawat sir,
Yes, sir.
basically he want to ask two things. First, he want to ask once
First-
you are converting from the storing the seed and then you are converting into the plantlets, then what is the survival percentage
Yes, sir.
of
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
converting? First thing. And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See-
second thing, from with those synthetic seeds which you are using, are you adding any additional supplement into the media?
Yes, sir.
These two
Yes,
things
sir.
we
Yes,
want
sir.
to ask.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As such, Bhattacharya, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. As such, since we are not going for cryopreservation of this plant, we are storing for just for 4 degrees centigrade only, just at 4 degrees centigrade only, right? So, as such, we are not at all adding anything, even not at all added also in this both the experiments, right? Simply, we dissolved alginic acid in the MS medium, liquid medium, without calcium chloride,
Okay.
right? We made alginic acid solution in MS medium devoid of calcium chloride. In that we encapsulated the somatic embryos, and by use of calcium chloride solution, after that we hardened the coat. These acids we stored in the fridge. Yes, sir.
It's a very interesting thing what you have done. It will help a lot in cost reduction basically.
Exactly,
One
sir.
small, because what we used to do is to add these PGR cells in my case in dendrobiums and other the epiphytes. And even why I'm asking, I'm also going to do the same thing in these terrestrial orchids. So because this has a very good similarity with terrestrial orchids. So we can
Exactly,
adapt this. It's a good thing, very good thing. Just one query, after you this convert this from this beads
Somatic
to this
seeds to
plantlets, na?
plantlet.
When you convert this, do you what is the rooting frequency? How much is the rooting frequency? How the normal rooting is coming, or this, because in major problem in this orchid tissue culture is we don't get a good branching after we convert from this, because there's a lag. I don't know what are the molecular signatures responsible behind this, but generally we have seen when you convert whether the temperature alterance is there, the rate of proliferation of this root gets altered. So are you using normally, or you are using some phenolic elicitors to break that gap or
Yes, sir. Yes,
this
sir.
lag?
Yes,
If you
sir.
can
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
enlighten me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Number one, first of all, I would like to answer your that first question. What is the seed germination rate? Right. So actually, what happened when we are taking out these synthetic seeds from the fridge from 4 degrees centigrade, right? Thawing is not that much important here because these are not cryopreserved, right? After putting these seedlings, that synthetic seeds at room temperature, within half an hour, temperature used to be okay. After that, we used to put on the normal medium where the protocol has been already developed that on this type of plant growth regulators and this type of medium, they are giving germination. Response starts. There's, definitely more than 60% seed germination is there, right? All seeds won't germinate, sir, because of, I think, low temperature or hyperhydricity or some other reasons are there, number one. Number two, as you are telling, no, that branching in the roots, right? Because Vanda especially, this is epiphytic.
Yes.
Right? Vanda tessellata is epiphytic. Branching and root formation is not at all the problem, sir, in this plant, especially Vanda, right? But definitely root formation in case of Spathoglottis, little bit it is there. That after germination, we used to put these seedlings in multiplication medium, And in case of Spathoglottis, very good multiplication is there in liquid medium. Even we have induced roots under ex vitro conditions also in case of Spathoglottis plicata.
Because why
no
I'm
issue.
asking, because this Vanda tessellata is being you told na that it is being used in medicinal herbs. I think it has a
Exactly.
use in eye drop preparation in some like medicinal this thing. And the part they use is of roots. And one of the major reasons this plant is getting endangered, not only Vanda tessellata, Vanda caerulea also,
Cerulean is
because
also.
these are all included on the sites appendix 1. And
Yes,
it
sir.
is very difficult to, even in Northeast, and I don't know about the Western Ghat, in Northeast, once upon a time in Shillong, in the roads also used to get this, but now you
Yes, sir,
can't
yes.
see it because
Yeah,
of this
in
indiscriminate collection.
exactly. You are right, sir. Okay, in few slides, in next
Yes.
now we are entered in microscopy now.
Okay, thank you.
Next slides we will discuss about that this issue also about epiphytic root adaptation also. I'll show you some beautiful results. You will enjoy that, sir. Right. So here we used microscopy, light microscopy, our traditional botany, anatomy, micromorphology in the field of plant cell and tissue culture. Right. The basic target is in tissue culture industry, the biggest problem is survival of the plants in the field. Right. And we have gone in this field, enter in this field just to just to see what are the micromorphological changes taking place in the leaf only. First, we started with the foliar micromorphological changes from in vitro to ex vitro to the field. What are the changes in the epidermal cells of the leaf? What are the changes taking place in the veins, venation pattern, especially vein islets and vein terminations? In case of trichome density, we entered in this field just because of curiosity only. What are the changes there? Then we realized that we can develop, we can develop a tool where we can assure that by use of micromorpho anatomical features, by examining microscopical examination of the leaf samples of ex vitro and field transfer plant, we can predict the survival percentage of tissue culture raised plants from ex vitro to the field. That was the target. In that, we are going to discuss in some next slides. So, another plant that is Vitex negundo in South India is available, and generally people used to use it for as insect repellent plant, especially mosquito repellent. In that, we develop a tissue culture protocol, and we wanted to know that whether we can predict that how many plants from greenhouse to field will survive by use of foliar micromorphological analysis. What we did, we have taken one sample from the field, leaf sample, one sample from the greenhouse, and one sample from the in vitro grown plant, shoots. These samples we have studied. Sorry. We have studied the changes in stomata, stomatal density, changes in venations, vein islets, vein terminations, changes in the trichomes, both if simple trichomes or glandular trichomes, even changes in the presence or density of crystals and raphides also. Then we realize that if these parameters are, ex vitro parameters are reaching to the in vivo parameters, then we can predict that, yeah, now if ex vitro parameters, foliar micromorphological studies parameters are matching near about to the in vivo parameters, we can predict that, yes, now the ex vitro or greenhouse grown plant or net house grown plant is ready for field transfer, and we can achieve 100% success, survival success in that. Right? First, we just tried because of curiosity only. And now we are sure that we did the same thing in Vanda also. That yes, take a sample of ex vitro grown Vanda, take a sample from in vivo grown Vanda and go for the micromorphological parameters. It used to take for us hardly 2 days. Within 2 days, we can compare the data and we can give the report that yes, whether your Vanda plants which are under hardening conditions will survive under the in vivo conditions or not. If the data matching some difference is there, right, it means the plant has to be again kept in the greenhouse for some more days. After 2 or 3 weeks, we can again go for the same kind of micromorphological analysis, and we can finalize that yes, now the data, both the data are matching, right? Now we can assure that yes, if all the conditions will be okay, the plants are ready for the field transfer, and all the plants will survive in the field. That is the beauty of this study. See here, sir, in Vanda especially, right? Because in Vanda, what we observed, if the roots are, since it is epiphytic plant, if the roots are adapted, and we know that the Vanda roots are having one tissue, velamen tissue is there. If the velamen tissue formation is successful, means multiple layers are there, Vanda plant will survive under the field conditions, right? So by use of microscope, hand sectionings, we confirmed that yes, from in vitro, this much of velanin layers are there, cell layers are there, and ex vitro, this much of layers already developed. And if this much of some 2 or 3 more cell layers will be there, the plant will be ready to transfer to the field. This is known as anatomical or micromorphological validation or confirmation of adaptation of the plants under greenhouse conditions. So in that, especially in case of Vanda, we used roots because roots are important here. If root is hardened properly, velamen tissue formation is proper, it shows that the plant will survive under in vivo conditions. So we tested, we have analyzed root as well as leaf also. See here, what is important here, we can study in anatomy the developmental changes in epidermis, developmental changes in cortex, then endodermis, then in xylem and phloem, both the vascular bundles, right? And we are finding a sequence of developmental changes, right? If metaxylem formation is good, started, thickening is good, lignin thickening is good, suberin thickening is good, it means the plant is almost ready to survive under the field conditions. So without transferring to the field, a hardened plant sample can be collected, sectioned, stained properly, and can be seen under the microscope. And we can predict that yes, whether the plant is ready for the field survival or field transfer or not. This is the use of microscope in tissue culture. In other words, we can say a traditional botany, that is anatomy, histochemical analysis, micromorphological analysis, right? We mixed with the plant cell and tissue culture technology and getting wonderful results.
Shekhawat sir.
Please.
Amita ma'am is asking something about the size and the number of the bulbs. I don't know which plant, but ma'am, could you please write the name of the plant?
Ma'am is asking about the crinum only.
Okay, so she missed whether you could produce the in vitro bulbs or not, and if yes, then what is the size and what is the number of the bulbs? I think you have published in PCTOC, right?
Yeah. That paper is available. One is in PCTOC, another is in South African Zoonobotany.
Okay, one is I think biosomatic embryogenesis.
Yes, sir. Okay. And one is direct regeneration is there from the twin scales.
So just can you please tell to ma'am what is the size and the number of the bulbs?
Ma'am, we are still in the process of publishing, especially in vitro bulb formation. Right, we are making ready that manuscript. Right, even we are trying to still multiply these because the number of in vitro bulbs till now formation is hardly 20 to 22 only. Right, and it is again based on the size of the culture vessel also. Right, in a standard 300 ml culture bottle, around 22 bulbs we got. Right, that too if the bulb is older bulb, size used to be somewhat bigger. Right, in that case the size is around 4 to 5 millimeters only. Right, if it is old, then it is reaching to half centimeter also. right? So depends on the when bulb formation starts. Old bulb size is more, big size is there, right? And the newly formed bulb size is somewhat small, right? But still we are standardizing this protocol, right? We are in the making of process. I think soon in another 6 months, you will find one very good paper on this aspect also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
Same type of microscopical or microscopic observation, and that is also, we included anatomy also here. We did in one plant that is in Hindi, it is known as Had Jod, bone joining plant. In Indian traditional system of medicines, especially Ayurvedic, Vedya and Siddha practitioners, they use this plant for bone joining purpose. And it is coming under IUCN vulnerable category. Right, we developed a protocol for that, and recently in 2021 only we have published this work in Acta Physiologia Plantarum, right? Tissue culture as well as micromorphology and anatomical work, right? What are the sequential changes taking place when the plant is growing from in vitro to ex vitro and ex vitro to the in vivo conditions, and how we can improve the survival rate of plants from ex vitro to the in vivo conditions, right? Basically, in this plant, calcium oxalate crystals are present in the leaves, and I believe that is why Ayurveda people are using this plant for bone joining purpose. The leaf paste used to be applied on the broken bone, on the skin, and they used to wrap it just like a plaster, and people are getting benefit. I don't know how these calcium oxalate crystals are benefiting, but the availability of calcium oxalate crystals in the leaf is wonderful here in this plant. So maybe because of that purpose only, it is known as Had Jod. Properties are like this. So based on presence of and the density of calcium oxalate crystals in the cells of leaf and stem, we can predict the survival of this plant by use of microscopic study. That yes, now the synthesis of crystals are this much of crystal formation is there, even refined formation is there. Now these plants can be transferred to the field for 100% survival success. So we did micromorphology, foliar, as well as anatomy also of leaf, stem, and even in root also.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we are having a very, very good discussion, and but one thing we have to just remind, we have to complete this talk in a very stipulated period of time, before 1 o'clock. So we have just one question. After that, you can continue. One of the student from one of the CSIR labs, she is a PhD student, okay? In one of the CSIR labs, she has asked something in a chat box, how to identify changes in the epidermal cell under microscopic observation.
Oh, very good. Very good
so
question.
just you can just answer her, and then you can continue. After that, I'm not going to disturb you.
No, please. Whatever the question is there, you please interrupt. Same time we'll discuss that. No issues.
No, actually, it's a Saturday and everybody is engaged in other work also.
Okay,
so
fine. No
we
issues.
won't take too much of time. We'll finish by 1 o'clock. Within half an hour.
Definitely. In before 1 o'clock, we'll finish it, sir.
Okay, sir. So this is the question from Lucy from the CSIR lab. Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you, Lucy. I'm enjoying answering these questions. Actually, epidermal cells, if you have little bit knowledge of anatomy of plants now, right, then you will understand that under in vitro conditions, right, we can have size of the epidermal cells. If it is orchid, for example, in Vanda, then the layer of epidermal cells, then the epidermis used to have cuticle also, right? So size, shape also used to change, size used to change, formation of cuticle is also there. Even sometimes multiple layer of cells used to be, epidermal cells used to be there in after field transfer. So these are the parameters we can easily identify, right? That yes, from in vitro, this is the size, this is the shape, these are the number of epidermal cells, cell layers, And under in vitro conditions, we won't get any type of cuticle formation also, right, over the epidermal cells. That way, we can find out changes, and you will wonder to see the changes from in vitro to ex vitro to in vivo, that yes, how the epidermis is changing. Not only epidermis, cuticle is also changing, because whenever the harsh conditions are there, from in vitro conditions to ex vitro conditions, little bit hard conditions are there, right? The size used to change, the shape of the epidermal cells used to change, even the number of layers used to be changed, even the formation of and thickness of the cuticle used to change. Cortical cells also changing in same manner, right? Endodermis also, and the vascular bundles too, including pith. A sequence of changes we can observe. If this sequence is moving in smooth direction, it means the plants are ready for the hardening purpose. Plants now are ready for the field transfer purpose. I think you got the point. Even one more aspect is there that I am going to discuss now with the aloe vera. Right. As such, in aloe vera, more than 100 research articles are there, especially in the plant tissue culture aspect is concerned. Right. But even though, right, we did some different kind of work. You will see that, you will enjoy that, and Lucy, your answer is there here also, right? How not only epidermal cells, other cells are also changing, right? What are the microstructural and histochemical changes are there, variations are there in various stages of micropropagated plants, right? See, till now what we have discussed is about use of one or two kind of stains, right? Colors, staining, right? Stains are there, colors are there, different types of stains are available, which used to stain different type of chemical compounds. So cells are made up of different types of chemical compounds. Cellulose is there, lignin is there, suberin is there, cutin is there, deposition is there, and these chemical compounds used to change their concentration, their thickening used to change, their density used to change while or at different stages of in vitro propagation, from in vitro to ex vitro to field conditions. Even by use of that, by sequential observation of these changes in these chemical compounds and their thickening, we can analyze the adaptational mechanism here. In case of epidermis, here you can see that, right? What are the changes are there, right? Epidermal cells, what type of thickenings are there? Here in this pic we have used stain safranin only. Safranin can stain certain type of chemical compounds or the cells, chemical compounds which are present in cell wall or inside the cells. This is by use of fluoroglycinol, right? Just to observe the changes in lignin and cellulose deposition in the cells, in the cell walls, right? Then this is ferrichloride 3. Ferrichloride we used just to see the localization of pectin and mucilage that is present in aloe vera. And these are sequential changes are there. They are changing, increasing from in vitro to the field continuously, right? Then by use of toluidine blue, right, we can find out the deposition of or the presence of tannins and polyphenols, because these are also increasing. When the stress conditions are there, tannins, the concentration of or the availability of tannin is increasing, even the polyphenols are also increasing. This is by use of Sudan black, just to stain the cutin and suberin. We use Sudan black, and we can very well, very well localize, and we can very well identify the amount of, we can find out the amount of formation of these cutin and suberin. Here you can see that in the cuticle formation is there, that is very clearly stained with Sudan black. In picture C, figure C, right? So based on that, you can see the sequential changes here, A, B, C. Then the changes in vascular bundles, deposition of suberin here. Then changes in stomatal cell wall. So in same way, by use of light green, right, we can localize the deposition of or localization of cellulose in the cell wall also, right? So this is about use of microscopy in the field of plant cell and tissue cultures. Now, as Bhattacharya sir asked one or two queries, and he wanted to know about this. Yeah, I'm going to share that next segment. That is a recent advancement in plant cell and tissue culture technology. I can't say I only or we only or our group only did this. Earlier, some reports were there in different areas. We used in plant cell and tissue culture, right? So the applications of or use of seismic stress in elevation of in vitro induced abnormalities. So on one thing, we all tissue culture people or those who are working in plant cell and tissue culture, we will be agree for this purpose. This on one concept that in vitro conditions definitely cause abnormality into the cells, tissues, and the organs. Either it is leaf, root, or stem, because all the conditions are luxury conditions. We are providing them full nutrients, abundance, growth, plant growth regulators, very good conditions, physical, chemical, and because of all these conditions, right, these conditions induced abnormalities in each and every cell, each and every organ of the plant. And if because of these abnormalities only, the plants are unable to survive under ex vitro in greenhouse conditions and in the in vivo conditions. But one thing is there, if we can repair before transferring these abnormalities in the laboratory itself at certain extent, the survival percentage of the plantlets can be improved like anything. This is the basic concept behind use of stress in the laboratory itself. And we got fantastic results in that, right? Here, the seismic stress means shaking, right? Because I saw one video, one tissue culture greenhouse. In that, people are putting tissue culture raised plants in greenhouse nearby the fan, just to give stress, wind stress, so that plants can get 100% survival success, and within minimum time period, at the place of keeping the plants in greenhouse for 1 month, they are telling within 20 to 25 days plants are ready for the field transfer. After seeing that video, we started working on giving shaking treatment to the culture itself under the laboratory conditions, and found the changes. The size of the plants increased, the size of the leaf increased, the size of the roots also increased, and very healthy growth was there. So we used the incubator shaker, and we found that around 80 RPM for 14 minutes, twice per day, if you are giving this treatment, morning, one in the morning around 9 o'clock, one in evening around 6 or 7 o'clock, right? We standardized one protocol for 2 to 3 plants, right? Better growth was observed, better hardening was there under the in vitro conditions, and such types of plants survived almost 100% in greenhouse conditions and in the hardening conditions. Even you can see photograph 4th and photograph D. Same time we have hardened plants, we have put hardened plants in the soil natural conditions in our institute. Sorry. And you can see the visible difference in the growth of the plant. Then we tried the same technology, same technique, giving seismic stress in 4 or 5 other plants. And now we are producing plants, almost all the plants we are trying this, giving seismic stress to the plants. I think Bhattacharya sir, is it okay?
Yes, it is okay.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we applied the same seismic stress in Hemidesmus indicus also. So this, yeah, we published again in South African Journal of Botany in last year itself in the Hemidesmus indicus. And these are the changes. After seismic stress also we observed what are the things, what are the structural changes taking place in the leaf anatomy, in the stem anatomy, in the root anatomy. And we found that under in vitro conditions, if we are giving seismic stress, almost the parameters we are matching with the ex vitro plants which are under the greenhouse conditions. So we are saving time here, we are saving energy here, and we are saving cost of production also. by giving seismic stress under laboratory condition itself. Because the anatomical parameters are matching, improving. Anatomy used to improve. Better epidermis is there. Formation of cuticle starts there itself, which generally used to be not at all there, or very thin cuticle layer used to be there under in vitro conditions. Cortical cells used to be performed better. If it is hypodermis, normal hypodermal cells formation starts. And in xylem, metaxylem, lignification, suberification starts. So here we can see here, not only micromorphological changes, we observe the changes after seismic stress in the presence of or concentration of photosynthetic pigments also inside the cells. We can see here in D, E, and F, right, under in vitro, after seismic stress, and then in the field, we can see here, right. So this third parameter after seismic stress treatment, right, this is matching with the greenhouse treated plant or greenhouse acclimatized plant. So it means we can say that, right. So after seismic stress, I can't say we need not to go for adaptation or hardening in the greenhouse. Time period we can save here. After greenhouse, field transfer, the survival success of tissue culture will be almost reaching to the 100% in our case, in our plants. It can be recommended. Same thing, same experiment we did in Vitex Negundo also, and we published recently in last year in PCTOC again. These are the changes took place in micromorphology, in stomata, then trichomes also. This is our incubator shaker, and we did the experiment in Crinum malabaricum also. And these are the changes, anatomical changes in Crinum malabaricum under in vitro control, stress treated, and acclimatized plantlet. We can see it is almost reaching to the parameters are almost reaching to the ex vitro and acclimatized field transfer plants, and survival percentage is also increased. Right. So we are working on adventitious root culture and production of secondary metabolites. In some plants we have achieved. In some other plants we are trying our best to achieve that. Right. As Vijay sir told, in Hemidesmus indicus, I am taking help from help of even Dr. Vijay also, right, for agrobacterium infection and hairy root culture. We are working together in this aspect too, right. But our target is basically adventitious roots without any type of infection of agrobacterium, right. So from the leaf we induce roots, from the stem definitely, from the root also, from the leaves also we have induced the root, induced the adventitious roots. We have multiplied in flasks, that is also known as the Sake flask culture method, right. So medium is almost 1/4 ms in case of Hemidesmus. Then IBA is also, of course, it is there. These are the roots we have harvested from the flasks, and dried roots are there, right. From these we can extract, right, coumarins also. But our target is how we can multiply, because this project is funded by NMPB, and the major target is we have to multiply these roots. Large scale multiplication we need, right, so that for example, if we can achieve here with 5 liter flask, it can go for pilot production, then it can go for the industrial production, right. So only roots we are multiplying continuously, and then we are going for the elicitation, so that we can increase the concentration of secondary metabolites. Especially our target is coumarins here, the aromatic compound. Because of that only the plant has been harvested like anything. Another plant which we worked, I worked especially in under the able guidance of Professor Narpat Singh Shekhawat, right, and on ciconine, production of secondary metabolites, and it is Arnibia expedissima is a desert plant, right. I worked during my PhD time period. So we have synthesized ciconine, that is bright red color pigment present in the roots. We induced in the callus also, roots, suspension culture too, and isolated the pigments, ciconine, and we made various products like lipstick, shoe polish, creams, lotions, right, different products. Even we tried these the ciconine red pigments, right, on to color different types of give shades to the clothes also, cotton cloths also. So here second adventitious root culture and secondary metabolite production case of Morinda Korea, because Morinda Korea people here in South India, people are using for dye, getting dye, anthraquinones. And just to get the anthraquinones from the end, this dye basically you present in the root bark only, right? And it's a medium-sized tree, right? When the tree is attaining around 10 to 12 years of age, then only maximum production of dye used to be there, synthesis of dye used to be there. So a 10 to 12-year-old tree we have to cut just to harvest the root and get the dye. Entire plant used to go. We are losing the plant. So here also we are trying to synthesize, to go for adventitious root culture continuously, induce the pigments, and the results we have published in Industrial Crops and Products last year only. Yeah. Then this is the harvested roots and the dyes from the harvested. We compared in vitro and in vivo, because we use the elicitors to enhance the production of, especially chitosan we have used to enhance the dye production. We isolated chemical compounds, because dye means pigments means around 6 to 7 different types of chemical compounds are there, dyes are there, pigments are there. So by use of TLC and column chromatography, even SPTLC also we are performing right now. It's going on, experiments are going on, right? And we have isolated these 4 or 5 pigments. Recent advancements I can also include what we have achieved, right? Applications of nanoparticles also, right? How nanoparticles can help us be in case of tissue culture, right? And we use that, right? Practically whatever we use, that I'm going to discuss here in this case too, right? Just to reduce contamination, definitely uses are there, right? It enhances rate of multiplication also, right? And basically we used for induction of in vitro flowering. Reports are always there, already there. We induced in vitro flowering by use of silver nanoparticles. Silver nanoparticles in case of Ordolandia herbacea, a dye yielding plant of South India. In Northeast and North India also plant is available of different species. Right, in vitro induction of induction of flowers is there in Ordolandia herbacea we have achieved by use of silver nanoparticles. Even in case of Erva lanata also we induced in vitro flowering by use of silver type of nanoparticles only. I think even LPU also doing wonderful work on in case of genetic engineering, and the department is also molecular biology and genetic engineering, right? Definitely benefits are there, right? And today, directly or indirectly, we are depending on genetically modified crops only, right? Whether we know or we don't know, whether we are opposing or supporting, whether public is opposing or supporting, maybe it may be a political issue also, right? But in US in 2017, around 200 genetically engineered plants approved for cultivation. And that includes maize, wheat, rice, and potato and all. It means our staple food, right? Already approved by the US in 2017 itself, right? And globally around 500 genetically engineered plants approved for cultivation, right? Even I think we don't know what we are eating today, that is genetically engineered or not, right? Whether we are opposing or supporting, we are eating that, right? And one more thing is there, genetic engineering is needed to feed the increasing population of the world. This is, I think, I believe that this is the only solution to feed the increasing population. Otherwise, that green movement was there, right? These all Swaminathan Sir's technology, right? All together with genetic engineering, we have to achieve, we have to produce more for the growing population of the world. So genetic engineering, definitely an answer is there. But one thing is there, genetic engineering, we can transfer the gene, but ultimately tissue culture is there to grow the plants, to make the plants from the cell. And I hope and I think this is the latest advancement in case of genetic engineering. I can't say in case of plant tissue culture, genetic engineering, right? These two wonderful ladies got Nobel Prize last year in chemistry for their wonderful work. The history is going to change, because till now we have studied various type of genetic engineering methods, this and direct gene transfer, indirect gene transfer, right? Gene gun bombardment, right? Electroporation, various type, by use of various type of vectors. Ultimately, everything is stopped at one place where CRISPR-Cas starts. But one thing is there, as tissue culturist, either it is genetic engineering old technique or it is CRISPR-Cas. Ultimately, we are here to develop the plants. Gene can be transferred in one or two or few cells only. And after that, that cell has to come to us only. So this is one message to my dear research scholars who are working on plant cell and tissue culture, and the students who are thinking about to enter in plant cell and tissue culture. Friends, whatever the methodology is there of gene transfer, genetic engineering, I hope we may get better technology in coming years, better than CRISPR-Cas, or CRISPR-Cas may develop wonderfully. Ultimately, gene transferred cells will come to us only. And we are the people to make a plant from the cell. CRISPR-Cas or genetic engineer, if they don't know tissue culture technology, cell culture technology, organ culture technology, they can't produce plants. We are the people who can produce the plants from a single cell. Right? So there is a bright future for tissue culture people, for cell culture people. There is a heavy demand, high demand is there in tissue culture industry too. Right? People are now inquiring about a commercial protocol for white sandal plant, because recently, just 6 months before, I think Government of India has given permission that everybody can cultivate chandan, white chandan, that is also known as sandal, Santalum album. And now I am getting inquiries from the various farming communities, sir. We want standard plants, nursery plants to grow in their fields. Tissue culture industries are coming to us now. Sir, please develop a commercial tissue culture protocol for the propagation of, for the multiplication of white sandal, Santalum album, red sandal. People are coming to us to get commercial protocol. So just focus on two aspects. One is research. Another is develop a protocol by keeping in mind that this protocol should be commercialized. Even if you can develop a protocol, commercial protocol for rose, heavy demand is there. People are looking for rose tissue culture protocols. I am getting inquiries for that. Sir, research, okay. I need 5 lakhs tissue culture raised rose plant of my choice in 6 months. This is the inquiry. If somebody is working on rose itself, develop a commercialized or commerciable tissue culture protocol. You can prove that yes, within 6 months I can produce 5 lakh plant of rose only. There is a scope. So friends, tissue culture, it's more than 100 years of I think old technology. It will go for another hundreds of years. Learn nicely, learn each and every part of this, because we will be in a great demand. Thank you very much. Any type of question, any type of suggestion, any type of feedback, most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sir.
I will invite Dr. Vijay, if he is here. Dr. Vijay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please, Dr. Vijay, I'll invite you for a vote of thanks.
No, definitely. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes,
First of
you are.
all, okay. Thank you, Manoj sir. First of all, uh, Mahipal sir, we really
Sir.
appreciate your research group for an outstanding contribution in the area of plant cell tissue and organ culture. It's really
you.
outstanding work. And what I can say, like you, Amita ma'am, Suman Kumaria ma'am, Dr. Saikat Gante, like we have grown up while reading your papers only. Like while doing
Yes.
PhD, no, definitely, it's the truth. It's the truth. Like when we were involved in our PhD during our 2012, 2013 and 14, right? So we referred your papers only during our PhD. I hope Dr. Paromik will also agree with me, right? Because we both are fellow colleagues.
Yes, definitely. In South Africa,
Definitely.
you were our like followers.
Exactly. And Professor
Because
Suman,
me and Vijay at the lab mates, na, we actually, frankly speaking, Dr. Suman Kumaria ma'am is my guide, and Amita ma'am was our role model for this other. So we used to follow your, basically, Narpat Singh, the best part is now the trend is tissue culture. I have, when working CSIR also, I had that feed. Tissue culture is just a technique, that is but this is not the right thing. Without tissue culture, जितना भी आप CRISPR Cas बोल दो, जितना भी transgenic बोल दो, without tissue culture you can't survive. This is the main thing. अब तो construct तो सब तो Arabidopsis tobacco इसमें हीरो बनते हैं, लेकिन उसको आप medicinal plant में जब करना पड़ता है ना, लोगों का problem आता है. That is where, and this is the big thing what you are doing. And I am personally a big fan of your work. That's the thing. It's right only. We are just the beginners, and you are the one who showed our like lineup.
Oh, thank you.
no,
It's
so-
all because
so-
it's all because of my professor, Professor Narpat Singh Shekhawat.
Yes,
yeah, we
interest-
do agree.
Even-
We do
even
agree,
in,
sir. He is one of the pioneer research of plant
Pioneer
cell
research,
tissue
yes.
and organ culture. Exactly, Dr. Professor Narpat Singh Shekhawat. And
Yes, sir.
one thing I forgot to mention, I think Professor Suman Kumaria has joined this meeting little bit late. So we welcome you, ma'am. Thank you very much for providing your valuable time. Thank you
Namaste,
very
ma'am.
much.
Thank you. I wish I would have known it before so that I could have joined it.
Exactly,
Okay,
ma'am.
so-
I'm really sorry. Like in a very short period of time, we have like organized this one guest lecture. But hopefully, in the near future, definitely we'll plan before time and will inform everyone in advance. And definitely, I hope we are recently we are also going to organize that plant physiology and biotechnology conference, which is pending now. So we are going to reschedule that conference, and very shortly we are going to
and
announce the new date.
Vijay, Professor Van Staden will be there. The
Exactly.
icon of
Hope,
plant tissue culture.
we'll see. Exactly. So finally, I'd like to thank Professor Mahipal Shekhawat for providing his valuable time for his outstanding lecture. And in addition to this, I would also like to convey my special thanks to our HOF, HOS, and especially Dr. Umesh Gautam, HOD of Molecular Biology and Genetic Engineering, right, for gracing his presence, and providing all the infrastructure facility, what I can say, just to plan this event in a very short notice, right. And I also thank all the faculty members of the Molecular Biology and Genetic Engineering, especially Srishti Gautam ma'am, for her constant support, right, to planning and the execution of this short event, right. And finally, what I can say, like on behalf of Molecular Biology, Genetic Engineering, School of Bioengineering and Biosciences, I'd like to thank Honorable Speaker Dr. Shekhawat for delivering such an insightful thought on plant cell tissue
you.
and organ culture. And also, I would like to give my express of gratitude all the faculties, not only from the lovely professional university, from the different parts of the country, like Dr. Saikat Gante from West Bengal, Dr. Manoj Lekhak from Maharashtra. Even we have one international person, Dr. Tabarak Malik from Ethiopia. Right. So he has
yes.
also joined this meeting. Thank you very much, sir, for your presence. Right. And finally, I would also thank all the research students from different CSIR lab, from LPU lab, from different colleges and university for your interest of the topic lecture, for your time which you have made from your regular schedule to learn something new. Thank you very much. Right. So with this, like I can say, thank you very much, everyone. and
Thank you.
we hope in near future also we'll do some outstanding work. We'll meet some place, right, and we'll share our knowledge, right. And one more thing I would like to add, like this is a very good platform to announce. Professor Mahipal Singh Shekhawat Lab has one position. Okay. So he has given an
Yes.
advertisement for research associate
yeah.
position. So we know Shuman Kumaria ma'am is there, Amita Pal ma'am is there, Manoj Lekhak sir is there. So everyone, there is a position, and last date for the
Amita
form is
Bhattacharya, Vijay.
yeah,
Not
Amita ma'am
Amita
is
Pal.
there. Sorry, Amita Bhattacharya ma'am. So there is a position for research associate. So if you know someone, some very outstanding students, those having a PhD in the same area, so you can refer to Dr. Mahipal Shekhawat for the research
Please, I
associate
need.
position. And very recently,
Please.
I'm going to announce the new date for International Journal of Plant Physiology and Biotechnology. And we hope again we'll meet and we'll share some new knowledge.
Yes.
And that time, from my lab also, I'll try to share some new contribution, what we are doing. Okay. So
Very
thank
good.
you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable time. And like, if anyone want to say something like Manoj Lekhak sir or Amita Pal ma'am or Suman Kumaria ma'am, I will be very, I will appreciate if they will say just 2 lines or 3 lines.
I want to
Anyone?
add, I want to say something. First,
No, definitely.
please,
Yeah,
please,
please.
please.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
a great fan of Sumar Kumaria, madam. Right. From
Thank
beginning
you
itself,
so
yeah.
yes.
Continuously, I am reading your articles, ma'am. Right.
Oh,
Actually, Pramod Tandon, I am coming from the background from where Pramod Tandon sir is there.
I know,
We both,
Professor.
No,
we both did
uh,
PhD from Jodhpur only.
Pramod, I
Okay.
wrote to Pramod Tandon sir. But he was a little bit busy, so that's why he could not join. But I hope everybody know he is coming as a chief guest in our International Journal of Plant Physiology and Biotechnology conference. So Pramod Tandon is coming as a chief guest in our
And
conference.
Dr. Ochad also. Ochad and Carol Dolezal also. Sir,
Yeah, so
Ochad and
those
Carol.
are the overseas professors. So Suman Kumaria ma'am and
Yes, sir.
Amita Pal ma'am, I request you
Not
please say
Bapal,
just 2 lines.
Bhattacharya.
Just say 2 lines.
Amita Bhattacharya.
It's
Suman
really
Bless.
pleasure to everyone. And I wish I could have joined earlier. And Dr. Shekhawat's lecture was really very interesting. And I think for the
Thank you, ma'am.
research scholar, yeah, it has given them in the insight. And I think the scholars have got like they have been like to work on tissue culture. They've been motivated by his lecture. The tissue culture deals with so many different aspects, not only for mass micropropagation. We have secondary metabolite production. We have types of like genetic engineering, from where we can get genetically modified plants and all. So it's not tissue culture is not only a technique. It's the foundation for most of the researches. So I wish most of the research scholars, they are motivated to pursue tissue culture in the research. Thank you for
Thank you,
giving
ma'am.
me your-
Manoj sir, Manoj Lekhak sir.
Vijay, thank you for this well-organized webinar. Although I am not from a tissue culture background, but I could see that a lot can be done if we can have some multidisciplinary alliance. I mean, if somebody can identify plant and can interact regarding its present status, and we can do something on conservation. Similarly, if it is about some medicinal, if it is of some medicinal value, we can, I mean, do some studies wherein we can increase that content. So I think multidisciplinary alliance is going to work a lot. And this is what I have realized while working with you and working with Dr. Mahipal. And I think this is the time. I mean, now the science is becoming more and more multidimensional. We need to have more collaborations. I mean, now it is not all about individual research. So there are many players. I mean, if we pool in a lot of expertise, a lot of good things, and I mean, good results can be brought up. And I hope this continues, and whatever the fraternity today has come, I mean, they also develop some collaborations. inter-institute, intra-institute, that would be great. I think this is a platform where many people would come to know what all is happening in this current area. And I think a lot of new collaborations and I think project proposals will come up. That is what I hope. And I hope that this webinar will again take up a shape of a meeting wherein people can interact physically, provided this COVID thing is over. This is what I have.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable comments on this guest lecture. And finally, like we are going to complete it. I don't know, Dr. Saikat Gantet is there or not.
I'm here.
Sir, yeah, so definitely, Saikat sir, just
Yeah,
closing
actually,
two
in fact,
lines.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Actually, I thoroughly enjoyed this webinar. I learned a lot about Dr. Mahipal Singh's work. Since long, I was following his work. I hope he will be continuing to carry on his legacy with his, great group. I think. So let's see. We'll try to have some collaborations in future, definitely. So thank you so much. It was really a nice presentation. Thank you so much. And thank you, Vijay, for organizing this. Thank you for Professor Kumaria, ma'am. Nice to see you there. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. So, Amita, ma'am, finally, just closing lines by your words.
Yeah, thank you so much for and I'm really thankful to you for inviting us. How tissue culture can be so used and new generation seeing that where to go, how to do it, shown us the path to move forward with sugar. Different aspects we can work using wonderful projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, finally, thank you, Mahipal sir, for giving your valuable time. Thank you, Umesh sir. Yeah,
welcome, sir.
Okay. So finally, Dr. Abhijit Dev from Presidency University, West Bengal, Kolkata has joined. So Abhijit Dev, sir, so we are now almost completing this webinar. If you want to say something.
Yeah, I would like to add 2 lines only. So I'm very much ashamed that I was not able to join since I got a call from my bank that I had to immediately go there at 11 a.m. Okay. So I got the message from Vijay and I'm so unlucky that I missed out this opportunity to hear from Dr. Shekhawat. And I know that he delivered a gem, definitely. And I'm very thankful that I was invited. Although my students, I think 4 or 5 students of mine, they have joined, they have listened to the lecture and they have probably learned a lot of things from your lecture, sir. Thank you so much. And Vijay, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
Is there? They all are very good friends of mine since a very long time. So I'll be very glad in future to join any of your webinar, probably as a participant or as a speaker. Anytime, you are always welcome, and I'll be very glad to do that. So thank you, and I'm so sorry that I was not able to make it up this time. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have my other interaction with the students.
Okay,
So
no problem.
I just want to share my few things. That our head of school has just conveyed the message that Dr. Neeta Raj just to give the best wishes to Dr. Mahipal and
thank you.
other scientific community or scientists, they have joined with us because she is quite busy with other administrative responsibilities. So next time, and if all the scientists will allow, so can we plan some live session also where we can have a conversation with a scientist, with one of the person from our university, like Dr. Vijay is here or other faculty members who are involved in their research and the same area of interest. For example, people are working in plant tissue culture or they are working in that genetic engineering. So can we have this session? If you people allow, we can contact you later on, because that can spread awareness about this work. Because I have certain feedback from students and other people, because they are having, because Mahipal sir have pointed out, or other scientists also, that tissue culture is must. If you are going for any technique in plants, tissue culture is must. So people are going for a second thought that, okay, there is a no scope for tissue culture, and now people are not getting good publication and all. So these session can at least change, because we all are working in plant sciences, and that kind of interaction or sessions can create awareness in our students and other faculty members also, that this area
Definitely.
is very much required, where we should put our hands, and we can proceed further, while people from interdisciplinary departments, they can join us. We as a biologist, person from chemistry, person from agriculture. So that is my little feedback. So
No, no,
Yeah.
definitely,
hope
sir.
so,
Appreciable.
We can
you'll
discuss on it,
consider our
and
request, and we can have this session in futures also.
okay,
sir.
and I
Definitely,
hope
sir.
And please, my apology, because I have to go for that interaction.
no
So,
issue.
no
No
issues.
issue. We are also going to end the meeting, and hopefully we'll meet online on April during Plant Tissue Culture Association.
yes.
It's going to be
Sure.
organized in Jharkhand, Ranchi. I think 2 days or
Yeah,
3
yeah.
days.
Dr. Anil is organizing. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
the
yes.
Plant Tissue
Definitely.
Culture Association meeting, I think, is 42 or 43rd, 44th meeting.
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay, so hopefully we'll meet there over there, and we'll see some of the outstanding
Definitely.
work related to the plant biotechnology. So
Definitely.
again, thank you very much, Mahipal sir. Thank you, Suman Kumaria ma'am, Amita Pal
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you very much for joining, and hopefully we'll meet again very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you,
Vijay.
Paromik. Thank you, Manoj sir. Stay safe, take care, and have a good day.